The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Warlord Krathax slammed his massive clawed fist onto the obsidian table. The impact sent vibrations through the floating platform, causing several of the smaller delegates to stumble in their hover seats. "Humans," he growled, his voice a deep rumble that seemed to shake the very air, "are nothing but primitive warmongers disguised in diplomatic robes." Harry Chen, Earth's diplomatic envoy, remained perfectly still in his seat. His dark eyes studied the towering reptilian warlord with an expression that betrayed neither fear nor anger, only patient observation. Beside him sat Honey Morrison, humanity's foremost xenobiologist and cultural liaison, her auburn hair pulled back in a practical bun, her fingers dancing across a holographic tablet as she recorded every word. "Your species," Krathax continued, his serpentine tongue flicking between rows of crystalline teeth, "has been in the galactic community for merely 50 cycles. 50. My people have ruled the Andromeda frontier for 10,000 cycles. We have conquered 67 star systems. We have brought order to chaos. And yet, you dare to propose restricting military expansion in contested zones." The chamber, a magnificent structure of transparent aluminum floating in the void between 3 stars, held representatives from 42 species. The air recyclers hummed softly, mixing atmospheric requirements for carbon breathers, methane breathers, and the silicon-based crystalline collective. All eyes, stalks, sensors, and optical arrays turned toward Harry. He stood slowly, his movements economical and precise. At 6 feet tall, he was dwarfed by Krathax's 9-foot frame, yet something in his bearing commanded attention. "Warlord Krathax," Harry began, his voice calm and measured, "humanity has indeed been part of this council for only 50 cycles. In that time, we have contributed advanced medical technology that has saved billions across 12 species. We've shared agricultural techniques that ended the famine on Proxima 7. We've asked for nothing in return but peace and cooperation." "Peace?" Krathax roared with laughter that echoed like thunder. "You speak of peace while your species colonizes 3 new worlds each cycle. Your expansion rate exceeds even the ancient Velkari during their empire's height." Honey looked up from her tablet, catching Harry's eye. A subtle nod passed between them, a signal refined through years of partnership. She tapped a sequence on her device, and a holographic display materialized above the council table. "If I may, Warlord," Honey interjected, her voice steady despite the intensity of Krathax's glare shifting toward her. "This data shows human colony distribution over the past 50 cycles. You'll notice that 94% of our settlements are on previously uninhabited worlds. The remaining 6% were established through mutual treaties and shared development agreements." "Irrelevant," Krathax's tail swept through the air, nearly striking a nearby gossamer delegate. "Your expansion is aggressive. Your technology advances at alarming rates. You represent a threat." Harry stepped forward, closing some of the distance between himself and the warlord. "You're afraid of us." The chamber erupted in gasps, clicks, and whistles. Several delegates activated their translation matrices multiple times, certain they had misheard. Krathax's eyes, 3 of them, arranged in a triangle on his massive skull, narrowed dangerously. "You accuse me of fear. I who have personally led battalions against the Hive worlds. I who broke the siege of Terminus Station with my bare claws." "Yes," Harry said simply. "You're afraid because you recognize something in humanity that challenges your understanding of power." The warlord's hand moved to the ceremonial plasma blade at his side. Immediately, defense fields hummed to life around the chamber. The council arbiter, a being of pure energy contained within a magnetic bottle, pulsed with warning colors. "Careful, human," Krathax hissed. "Challenge protocols permit physical contest for matters of honor. I could reduce you to your component atoms and face no sanction." Harry glanced at Honey, who gave him the slightest shake of her head, a warning. He ignored it. I accept your challenge, Warlord, but not in the way you expect. The chamber fell into stunned silence. Even the Arbiter's energy form flickered with what might have been surprise. Krathix's mouth curled into what his species considered a smile. You wish to face me in combat, a human, barely evolved from tree-dwelling mammals, against a Krathan warrior prime. No, Harry said. I challenge you to a test of true strength, not muscle against muscle, but civilization against civilization. You claim your people have brought order through conquest. I propose we demonstrate which approach, cooperation or domination, produces superior results. Honey stood now, understanding dawning in her expression. She pulled up new data on her holographic display. The contested Sigma-9 system, she announced to the Council. Currently uninhabited, rich in resources, and located equidistant between human and Krathan space. It's been the subject of territorial disputes for 5 cycles. Harry continued, we each send a colonization team of equal size, 1,000 individuals. No weapons beyond basic personal defense against wildlife. Equal starting resources. We establish settlements and develop the world. After 10 cycles, the Council evaluates both colonies on multiple criteria: technological advancement, quality of life, sustainability, cultural development, and yes, even defensive capability. And what does the victor gain? Krathix demanded. The right to set galactic policy on expansion protocols for the next century, Harry replied. If you win, aggressive territorial expansion continues unrestricted. If we win, the Council adopts our proposed cooperation framework. The Warlord's eyes studied Harry with newfound intensity. This was unexpected. This was interesting. You would stake your species' political future on a single colony? Krathix asked. We would stake it on the demonstration that cooperation builds stronger civilizations than conquest, Honey added. Your people are warriors, Warlord. Ours were too, for much of our history. But we learned something in our bloodiest century, the one we call World War II. We learned that the ashes of victory taste the same as the ashes of defeat. Krathix was silent for a long moment. His clawed hand drummed on the table, each tap reverberating through the chamber. The Krathan do not shy from challenges. We accept. 10 cycles, 1,000 colonists each. May the superior civilization prevail. The Arbiter pulsed with official colors. The challenge is witnessed and sanctioned. Sigma-9 shall be designated neutral ground. Council observers will monitor both settlements. No interference from outside parties will be tolerated. As the session dissolved into excited chatter among the delegates, Honey leaned close to Harry. That was either brilliant or insane, possibly both. Harry allowed himself a small smile. Humanity didn't survive the nuclear age, climate collapse, and 3 different AI crises by being conventional thinkers. Besides, I've read your reports on Krathan sociology. They respect bold action. They also respect strength, Honey countered, and Krathix outmasses you by about 300 pounds of pure muscle. Physical strength is one thing, Harry said quietly, watching as Krathix conferred with his military attachés across the chamber. But we're betting on something the Warlord doesn't understand yet. Which is that the strongest civilizations aren't built by the strongest individuals. They're built by individuals who make each other stronger. 10 cycles later, the Galactic Council reconvened. The chamber was packed beyond capacity, with thousands of beings watching via quantum-linked feeds from across the galaxy. Krathix entered with his characteristic swagger, but something was different. His scales seemed duller, his movements less certain. Harry and Honey noticed immediately. The Arbiter presented the evaluation data in holographic form for all to witness. The Krathan colony on Sigma-9 had indeed been impressive. They had constructed a massive fortress city with formidable defenses. Their resource extraction was ruthlessly efficient. They had established a strict hierarchical society with clear command structures. But the human colony told a different story. Where the Krathen had built walls, the humans had built networks. Their settlement was a collection of interconnected communities, each specializing in different areas but sharing resources freely. They had established trade relationships with indigenous species the Krathen hadn't even noticed. Their technology had advanced rapidly through collaborative research initiatives. Most remarkably, their colony included 23 Krathen defectors who had left the Warlord settlement seeking what they called a different way. The data showed that human colonists reported 87% higher satisfaction rates. Their scientific output was triple the Krathen colonies. Their resource use was sustainable where the Krathen were already depleting local supplies. And when a massive solar flare had threatened both settlements in Cycle 7, the human colony had warned the Krathen and offered shelter. An offer Krathiks had refused, resulting in significant casualties. Perhaps most shocking were the defensive capabilities. The human colony's distributed network design and integrated alien partnerships made it virtually impossible to conquer through conventional assault. As one military analyst noted, you cannot cut off the head of a hydra that has no head. Krathik stood to contest the results, but his words died in his throat. He had seen the data. More importantly, he had read the testimonials from his own people who had defected. They spoke of feeling valued, of contributing ideas, of building rather than merely serving. Harry rose and crossed the chamber to stand before the Warlord. Your people are not weak, Krathiks. They are magnificent warriors and capable builders, but you've been forcing them to be only warriors when they could be so much more. The Warlord's eyes blazed, but not with anger, with something more complex. Pain, perhaps, or recognition. The challenge is concluded, the Arbiter announced. Humanity has demonstrated superior results across all evaluated criteria. The cooperation framework shall become galactic law. But Harry wasn't finished. He extended his hand toward Krathiks, a human gesture the Warlord had learned meant peace offering. We don't want to diminish your people, Harry said. We want to invite them to join us in building something greater than either of our species could create alone. The strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. Krathiks stared at the offered hand for a long moment. Then, slowly, he extended his massive clawed appendage and grasped Harry's hand with surprising gentleness. You have won, human, more than the challenge. You have won my respect. He paused, then added, Teach us this way of yours. If there is strength in cooperation as you claim, then the Krathen will master it as we have mastered war. Honey smiled, pulling up new data on her tablet. Actually, we've already prepared a cultural exchange program proposal. If you're interested, Warlord, we'd like to start with educational initiatives and... As she outlined the program, Harry caught her eye and grinned. This was what humanity did best, not winning, but building bridges from the ashes of conflict. The galaxy watched, and many species began to reconsider what strength truly meant. In the void between three stars, in a chamber of transparent aluminum, a new age began. Not with conquest or submission, but with a handshake between former enemies who chose to become partners. And across the galaxy, others began to understand why humanity's approach had shocked them all. It was predicated on the radical belief that everyone could win if everyone worked together. The apex response wasn't dominance. It was unity. The end.